Hello, everybody, and welcome to week two, day two of the ALS. I'm Kinderspiel. I'll be cast for today, along with my man Brown and Autumn.
Hello, hello.
Hope you guys are doing good today. So we will be the casters for the first two games of the day today. First game will be Endgame versus the Nancy Drew crew, and teams are in Champion Select and should be ready to go here.
Team Endgame is really looking at it.
So
Endgame
Endgame,
is undefeated still.
Endgame is still undefeated. So they're looking to match Iron Dragon with a 3-0 record here with the W.
And Iron Dragons had a very strong performance yesterday and very commanding, very commanding after they pushed ahead with their lead. But let's see, because this game is between Endgame and Nancy Drew Crew, so let's focus a little bit more on them. Because we do see the Jin band coming out first, as well as the Teemo band. You don't really see a lot of Teemo bands, despite him being as strong as he is. And the immediate Nautilus band coming out as well, because we have seen quite a few Nautilus players in the tournament so far. Caitlyn, who's been picker banned every single time. Well, that's Kaisa. Kaisa's been pick banned every single time with the. Wait, no.
They've both really been banned a lot, honestly.
Yeah, Caitlyn and Kaisa have been very high priority picks this tournament so far, with nearing 100% pick ban rate on both of those champions. It's definitely above 90%. And then Olaf and Jarvan bands coming out as well. First pick going to Aphelios on the side of Endgame.
Looks like they let that go through, and Endgame decided to pick that up ASAP. Which is pretty smart. Pretty strong right now, even after those nerfs that he's received this patch.
I don't think the nerfs to him were very significant, but I'm looking more at the Illaoi pick here. Because Illaoi is one of those champions that will terrorize the top lane, and you have to answer her in some way with more than one person.
Yeah, even then, sometimes you do send more than one person, and then you miscalculate that, and her ultimate's gonna mess you up.
Oh yeah. But now we have to see what Slamuel and Skur will be picking up for endgame. The Sejuani, which brings out a ton of frontline CC and engage, which is always something you need in every single team comp.
I'm surprised Sejuani isn't picked more often, honestly. She's a really strong champion.
She's a pretty strong champion in competitive play, but outside of that, not so much right now because of how easily it is to abuse her early game and how easy it is to invade her, because her clear speed isn't fantastic right now, and she gets out jungled in terms of clear speed by the other meta junglers like Kha'Zix, Olaf, Echo, even Echo, for example.
King George is hovering a Zed lock-in right here. He does lock it in. I'm not sure we've seen a Zed yet either.
I don't think we've seen a Zed either, but the Pyke we've seen before, and it'll be interesting to see Joe back on that Pyke. Because I remember last time he played that Pyke, he popped off really hard with it.
Oh yeah, he definitely 1v9 that game.
But we do see a Mordekaiser ban, so that's going to be Illaoi's hard counter, I think, being taken away.
We should note that Bengucci is actually having a role swap today. He usually plays AD carry position, but he is going to be running in the jungle.
Vlad and Morgana bans coming out on both sides, and the Morgana ban is definitely going to be a bit of an issue, seeing as how it'll be relatively impossible to stop a lot of the CC that is coming on the side of endgame so far. Xayah ban to round out the last of the bans.
It's an interesting Xayah ban. Oh, Xayah ban was coming out from the side of endgame, my bad.
And the Nancy Drew crew picking up Lucian and endgame on the Orianna. Another Scion pick coming from Little Gawa. Last time, it was even yesterday that was it yesterday? No,
it was
yesterday.
week one.
It was week one. We saw Little Gawa's Scion, and that turned into an absolute monster to deal with.
Yeah, he really just became a split pressure in that top lane, and then in the team fights, he was just way too tanky to deal with.
And if
For
that
the
Senna pick does
Lucian
go
Senna
through,
pick.
the Lucian Senna, it looks like it's going to be a little bit difficult for the Nancy Drew crew from this draft. Because if we just take a look at the straight up team comps, the Wave Clear and the CC on the side of Nancy Drew crew are relatively non existent.
And really, Alawi's the only real front line they have. They're really not much of no real tanks, honestly. Unless Echo does opt to go tank jungle. But
which I can't really see him doing, but the option is there if needed. But
definitely lots more frontline CC on the side of endgame here with the Scion and the Sejuani.
And then a lot of pick potential between the Orianna, Pyke, and Aphelios. Especially Joe's Pyke, who I'm surprised that Nancy Drew didn't ban it away.
And really just all around team fighting potential on the side of endgame, I feel like it's much, much stronger.
Yeah, if endgame makes it through their early game, which I'm expecting that they do, it's going to be extremely difficult for the Nancy Drew to play the mid to late game.
So 2K17 will be playing for NC Druker today. I'm not sure if we've seen him yet. He is on the roster, but I don't believe if he's actually played in one of the matches yet.
He has not yet played in a matchup, but another detriment looking towards the side of Nancy Drew is the fact that they are pretty much all AD with the exception of their Echo, who doesn't put out consistent damage, seeing as how he is a burst mage assassin.
And once that Scion starts getting that HP and that armor stat, it could mean it's really tough to get through that front line. Even tougher, because it's going to be tough as soon as they start getting some items.
And focusing down Echo and removing him from fights means that they can opt to build full armor and absolutely run through these team fights and be unkillable.
So you think it'd be a stronger strategy for Alawi to, instead of trying to group up and do team fights in a close game, maybe try to be a split push presence in one of the side lanes?
Yeah, I feel like that would definitely be a bit more optimal for the Nancy Drew crew, because especially if they get a lead and they can force the Alawi to soak up 2 to 3 champions. Like once she has Black Cleaver, she could easily 2v1 Scion and Sejuani. But the problem for her would come in once you add Joe's Pyke, who likes to roam a lot, or the Orianna to the mix. But I'm more interested to see how the Aphelios does in this game. Because although we've seen Aphelios a couple times, I don't think we've seen it really succeed once this season yet.
We actually, Feral Hogs did play an Aphelios game yesterday. I forget who they were playing. It was an exhibition match. Excuse me. And he was actually popping off against Iron Dragon, who was scrimming them during that block. So he was actually doing pretty solid, doing some pretty good work. We'll see if he can have a repeat performance today. Look to move to 3-0.
Spectator Lily counting down another 30 seconds before that pops off, and we can be on our merry way into the loading screen.
Yeah, the Iron Dragon endgame scrimmage yesterday was pretty interesting. I'm not sure if you caught any of it, but
I was unable to. I was out doing with a little bit of family, doing a little bit of some of that.
Yeah, it was pretty. Iron Dragon got to like a quick lead, but it was honestly a pretty winnable game on both sides for a decent amount. Endgame held in there, so I'm really looking forward to when they play in a real match. Should be good.
Between Iron Dragon and Endgame?
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the showcase match to see. Because Endgame has although I feel like Iron Dragons has a little bit more of the coordinated team play than Endgame does. I feel like the Endgame top and bot lanes are definitely better, in my opinion.
Yeah, Feral Hogs is really strong down there in that bot lane for sure.
Feral Hogs and Joe make for an explosive bot lane, but then when you look at Iron Dragons, Bisu, who is an absolute monster in the mid lane.
And Kindred is best in the top lane. He's put out a lot of strong performances too. I remember on the Renekton yesterday, he really went off.
And that's why I'm like, I've seen Little Gawa pop off. I've seen Kindred pop off. I don't know who would be better between the two of them because both of them have really put in the work on their teams. So I think it would come down to like the mid versus AD matchups where is Skirb going to be able to handle Bisu? Is Feral Hogs and Joe going to be able to handle the Iron Dragon's bot lane? And is Slamuel, I think, is on par with the Iron Dragon's jungler. The name is escaping me at the moment. Actually, it's not. It's yeah. There. Yep.
Got it. But unfortunately, we'll not get to see that until week 4, I believe. But today, we'll be watching Endgame take on Nancy Drew Crew.
And it doesn't seem like there are any really interesting rune choices today, aside from the Senna with the Summon Airy, which means that she will Baby Faker will probably be opting for a more defensive build, a more support-ish build for her rather than a carry. Like a carry that we typically see from her with Dark Harvest.
See, press the attack on Aphelios. I've seen a lot of different keystones taken on Aphelios. I'm not really sure what the most optimal one is, to be honest.
I feel like that's a question that's game to game. Like, we can't really tell which is the best unless as we're looking at the situations and the matchups.
Right, we are rolling into this one. See if we'll see the 5-point start here.
I don't think we'll see the 5-point strike. The 5-point start. We haven't seen a single 5-point start in 2 weeks so far.
Although,
wait! Endgame might actually pull out the 5-point start.
4-point start.
Almost 4-point. Very close. Very close.
They get some bonus points for the effort. It'll happen.
I don't know. We've only seen. This is the first time we've seen the 4-point start too.
It is. You're right. We've seen some interesting starts, but this is probably the cleanest one to date.
It looks like some early vision going down.
Yeah. They'll spot out Bengucci there when he crossed into his red side.
But now, do you think that we're going to see an early level 2 gank coming from either of these champions? Either Samuel Sejuani or Bengucci's Echo?
I think probably not. If we're going to see one, I think Bengucci might try and whip it out. But he's starting blue buff, so it doesn't really make any sense, honestly. I would think not.
Sejuani clearing much or about the same as Echo.
Yeah, it looks like he's going right into that full clear. As he turns towards his Gromp.
I'm actually surprised Senna didn't stay for that one misstep. But it doesn't matter, she'll get it anyway when she comes to lane. Nothing too dramatic happening, a little bit of a skirmish happening in top lane that seemed to have...
Houses are hooked by Joe in the bot lane. Little trade going down there. No one committing too hard. This early state. The ward will expire by Echo's Raptors, but Endgame will have seen that he did not cross to that point, although he is doing it right now. A little bit of bad timing there.
Feral Hogs and Joe taking quite a bit of poke, but Feral Hogs looks like he'll be able to lifesteal it back up, seeing as how he's on Severum still. And it looks like Slamuel's looking for a gank in this top lane against 2K17. Waiting for the Vessel to expire before even attempting to go in, and I guess they just decided to back off.
Yeah, Lil Gawa definitely took a lot of his health damage there from the... I don't even know what you call that thing.
Slap. The tentacles? Or you mean the Vessel?
The Vessel? The Vessel.
Getting hit by another vessel. Oh,
First blood was drawn in the bot lane.
Joe
Onto
landed
Joe.
another bone skewer onto them, and it turned into a lot.
Joe looks to be starting early today here in this one. See what he can do with his lead here. His first blood.
Slamuel's looking for Bengushi. Does not. Oh, does find him actually. But the pathing seems to be a little bit weird. Little guy struggling to dodge these vessel pulls.
And that's the number one thing you really gotta do when you're landing against an alley, because that damage that comes out from that is really just too much
King
to deal with,
George
especially if you get hit
looking
multiple
for
times.
Scurb. King George looking for Scurb. Shadows onto the Scurb's Oriana, but is unable to find any lethal damage. Although Scurb's Oriana has yet to back, and King George did return with boots and a longsword, no health potions to help him out here.
Do see Benguchi pathing towards his bot side as his bottom camps have respawned. The bot lane for endgame is pushed up pretty far here.
Benguchi looks like he wants to put some pressure down on, if not kill this bot
Joe
lane.
does land the hook onto houses. Does take some trade back. Benguchi is opting for the lane gank.
The Dark Passage doesn't land, but Feral Hog seems to be able to escape with his life as well as Joe due to Gravitoon being extremely strong in terms of CC.
I feel like Benguchi may have been more successful there if he had come through the river. Even though there is a ward.
There's the Scuttle Crab and the ward there. I don't think that the river gank would have worked there. He would have had to go with a really aggressive path through Endgame's jungle in order for that to make that happen. But it seems that Little Gawa is able to hold on to everything he has, blows his TP to get back to lane, and only comes back with a rejuvenation bead and a ruby crystal. TP also coming back out from 2K17, which means that we will not be seeing any TP plays for Dragon. Seeing as how TP will be down for the next 6 minutes. George pushing up, not opting to shove up to the tower.
Both junglers now sticking around on this bot side.
It's about the time that they start looking towards this dragon, so it's probably
George
why
is
they're
roaming
sitting
down.
here. King George is level 6, so he might be able to pick up something here if Slamuel is not near perfect on what he
Scurv
got.
was very late on this roam, so we'll be a 4v3. King George does dive the tower with the ultimate onto Joe. We'll get the death mark to proc.
And
We'll
King
escape
George,
for 1-0.
King George coming back out with the kill on Joe. Nothing too fancy here, just simple ult ignite popping on them with a 4-man gank into the bot lane. But Scurv stepping on a ward, which means that they probably won't be able to get anything here.
Sion did pop the unstoppable onslaught in his top lane. Looks like he will escape with his life. But his TP is down, so he will have to walk back to lane after this one. So looks like he will be missing out on some CS.
Scrubs' Oriana pushing out the bot wave. Probably will back here as Joe looks to catch this mid wave against King George.
Both junglers are now eyeing this scuttle here in this bot river.
But there are 3 members here on the side of Iron Dragons. It could, if a fight breaks out here, it definitely will be in favor, seeing as how Houses and Baby Faker are not in a position to close that gap in time. But it looks like Bengushi will just give up the Scuttle Crab here.
Slamuel is actually now starting up the dragon. They do have pink wards in the pit and scuttle.
Benguchi is still on this bot side, so he will most likely end up seeing him if he walks into the river. But he probably won't with the removal of the...
He's got his eyes on the gank here.
Yeah, he's not looking towards this at all.
Should be a free dragon. Oh, Slammo is pretty low. Does manage to secure the dragon.
Forced to smite it.
Game sounds. So the first dragon of the game will be on side of End,
which I think is significantly more useful to their team, seeing as how the Aphelios ulti, I believe, is really long. He's new, so I don't really know his cooldowns quite yet. But I know that the Orianna Shockwave has a pretty long cooldown, the Sejuani ultimate has a really long cooldown, and so does the Scion Unstoppable Onslaught.
So look at the ridiculous amount of vision that they have, and the end game has in the spot setter right now. 3 pink wards, 2 in the pit.
Which means
skull.
that the Nancy Drew crew can expend their rewards elsewhere if they really need to. And Little Gawa really struggling to find his way out, but it looks like 2K17 making a huge mistake in trying to jump underneath the tower, not even to kill Little Gawa, just to put damage down on the tower, and immediately getting ulted, not realizing that Little Gawa was able to clear the wave with his Q.
So while he is still down about 40 CS, he does pick up that shutdown there.
Very big miscalculation on 2K17, because now Little Gawa will take... He won't even take the gold lead due to the CS difference, but that is a huge swing in Little Gawa's favor to get him rolling into his tanky.
Joe does land a hook onto Baby Faker, which will end up in... Oh, the double kill with the reset on the ult. Joe making the plays down here in the spot lane.
And that's why you can never count out Joe's Pyke, no matter what you do to him. He's always going to be able to create picks like that with the Bone Skewer and finishing it off with the ultimate. Although the ultimate was not used from Baby Faker Senna.
Yeah, Baby Faker was really just deleted pretty quickly there. Not too much she was able to do. I believe she was also rooted. It was pretty a chain CC. She was rooted by Aphelios' Graviton Cannon as well.
Oh. And it looks like Samuel will be looking towards the Rift Herald, but 2K17 walks down with a ward on it. Will not be seeing any assistance from Skirb to prevent Samuel from being pushed off of it, but the Rift Herald is still on the map. But does the Nancy Drew crew opt to take it here? Doesn't look like it, but Bengushi roaming up, botted out, giving Little Gawa plenty of time to back away from that, and it looks like Skirb was able to solo kill King George.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. It's like he's able to...
They killed each other.
Built a pretty big... Oh, it was a 1-for-1.
It was a 1-for-1 underneath the tower, which I think is more useful to the Orianna here, who I personally believe scales better than Zed, even though Zed can still... Well, not really, because once Skirb finishes Azanya's, King George is relatively unable to kill Skirb. Although that doesn't seem to be what Skirb has opted for as a first item to keep up with the damage, but we'll see how that build path continues, because it seems as though Aphelios is going for the Essence Reaver first, and Joe opted for the Umbral Blade for the extra vision control.
2K17 in this top lane did just ult the Vessel that she grabbed from Logawa to get a huge chunk of his health down before she recalled. 2K17 really has done a good job here of just landing Vessels on everybody, honestly. It's really how she's dominated this top lane, especially against Logawa, as well as a couple onto Slammill when he's been around.
But it looks as though Bengush is looking towards getting vision on the dragon and possibly looking towards his bot lane yet again. Although he was spotted out by the pink ward, he may still try to go for something here. Doesn't look like he will, though.
Dragon will be up in 15, and Slammill is on his blue side here. It looks like he is heading in the direction of the Dragon Pit.
Bengucci spotted out by a ward, keeping Skur very safe here in this mid lane.
The dragon has spawned in. Bengucci has gone to the opposite side of the jungle now to take the scuttle.
Slamio spotted out by the zombie ward. But it looks like Endgame will look to see if they can burst it down before anybody can respond, and it looks like they will.
But we'll look at the dragon, but the collapse is coming in here on the side of Ansadruku. We'll see if Endgame is able to get out here. Oh, the command shockwave did hit onto Bengucci.
Forcing Bengucci to ult out. And it doesn't look like they're done yet. They're looking towards bot side yet again. Almost catching out Baby Faker there. Top lane being the island that it is.
Slamo does have ultimate available. There. Sets up a pretty free kill there for Endgame's bot lane.
Once again, Joe's Pike landing the Bone Skewer over and over and over again onto these targets, onto these immobile targets. Senna pretty immobile, so it's not too difficult, and especially once Aphelios has Gravitomb, it's absurdly easy for Joe to pick up the Bone Skewer and land it onto whoever the Gravitomb stuns, or roots rather.
Slime looking for some deep vision here, and Ansadruku's red side. Blue side,
2K17 once again ulting onto the vessel, but not Little Gawa to put down a lot of damage. Is out of mana at this point and forced to flash away from Little Gawa, actually from doing that underneath the tower. It leaves you to wonder if 2K17 is just being impatient at this point.
I think he feels like he has really just been dominating this lane for basically the entire game, and he actually has 0 kills to show for it. So I feel like it could be. You could be right about that.
All he has to show for it is the 40 CS lead.
First turret is still available to pick up for either team.
And no turret seems to have any significant damage on it, so maybe a Rift Herald play is the move, but we'll see if either jungler opts to do so, or top laner, seeing as how Alawi could easily solo it herself.
Dragon will be down for another 3 minutes. It does leave the Rift Herald as the neutral objective on the map. Bengucci is in the area here.
As I mentioned, Bengucci comes to pick up the Scuttle Crab in front of the Rift Herald, and Rift Herald started by 2K17, which means they are looking to pick this up, and it doesn't seem like there's any vision on the side of Endgame, which means that no one's even in a position, especially with Slimewheel backing right now. There's no way that this Rift Herald is stopped. Tesla pulled out from Gawa. I'm surprised that Nancy Drew crew opted to attack the vessel rather than Little Gawa, because once Little Gawa steps out of the range of the vessel, it produces a really strong slow for, I believe, 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which would have been more than enough to stick to him and keep him from using the Unstoppable Onslaught to escape, which he might have to do here.
Little Gawa did miss the tentacle grab this time, which will be extreme benefit to Little Gawa, as potentially saved his life there.
Oh, but it hits it again, and the Rift Herald is popped in the top lane, which means that this tower most likely will be going down if it's not played properly. Samuel is in his top side to stop anything further from happening, though, if it does.
And that was first turret picked up by the Nancy Drew crew with that Herald play. Endgame still holding on to about 3,000 gold lead in this one, but Nancy Drew crew definitely still in it. Anyone's game.
They're still in it for now, but for how long is the question, until Endgame scales and becomes really impossible to kill for them.
And Nancy Drew crew was really one of the things that would be really good for them if Alawi, despite having such a big CS lead, did manage to pick up a couple extra kills up there and really be more of a very difficult to deal with split push pressure in one of the side lanes.
Still holding on to that 40 CS lead over Little Gawa's Scion. And it looks like another fight is breaking out here in the bot lane.
Sejuani ult will land on onto Echo. He will be able to ult back out and flash over the wall to safety. But the Bone Spear does land on the Baby Faker, and he will for surely be going down.
Joe's ultimate not exactly landing there, so they will not have that for another minute and a half. But they are looking for more as they take the blue buff away. And they are able to get it on Slamuel. As Joe is looking for more. Being really aggressive against them.
King George is on the flank here.
Here on the side, yeah.
And 2K17 has roamed down from this top lane. Trying to keep the third dragon from going over to endgame here, but looks like they will not be in time.
Teleport burn from Little Gawa to ensure that the mountain dragon is spawned, and that will be the soul of this game, which is going to make it very difficult, like even more difficult for Nancy Drew Crew to kill anybody, seeing as how your two frontline champions of Scion and Sejuani are going to benefit greatly from the extra 12% if they do get the soul of armor and magic resist.
Yeah, it's soul, just another thing adding on to the ticking time bomb in this game for the Nancy Drew Crew.
How desperate do you think that the Nancy Drew Crew is feeling right now with the knowledge of the very dangerous scaling of endgame?
I feel like they definitely feel like they still have a chance in this game. It's only 20 minutes in. If in the next few minutes or so around the next objective play, they can make a solid play and team fight on the end game. I believe they can still come back to this game.
For sure they can still come back, but I was wondering how you feel the Nancy Drew Crew is feeling about now.
I don't know how they're feeling. I know I'd be worried about this Alawi, honestly, because if she stays in these side lanes and just really just remains a nuisance, it could make it difficult for endgame to play the game that they're trying to play. With grouping up and trying to get these just team fights 5v5 and because even Alawi, she still hasn't picked up any kills. Really just remaining to exert her dominance on this.
Looks like a little bit of a fight is happening out here, and Joe and Feral Hogs are unable to pick up King George, despite using the ultimate from Pyke.
K17 has been doing a decent amount of roaming away from this top lane as well.
And one thing I haven't really been seeing this game is Joe's roams, because that was what got our attention last time, was how hard he was roaming in his last Pyke game.
Endgame has their eyes on Baby Faker here, potentially caught out a little bit. Graviton Cannon will land.
And Baby Faker going down once again, relatively quickly.
Baby Faker has definitely been caught out multiple times in this game by Joe's Pyke and the rest of Endgame.
A lot of it comes down to the synergy between Joe and Feral Hogs. Wow, Feral Hogs just outplaying Houses Are on Sale there, as well as picking up the tower.
Fight here going out around this Baron pit. Scrub will go down to Alawi. Make that
Slamuel
one
is trying
down
to get out.
Lots of skirmishes going around the map here. Ooh.
I don't think Joe's done. Joe's looking for more. He's not. He will
Looking
not
for
find
more,
it, although
will not
Slamuel
find it.
does go down as well as Bengushi. The vessel being pulled from Joe, but it seems that Logawa is here to help defend this mid tower alongside Feral Hogs. Soul getting pulled out from Feral Hogs. What can they do with it?
Lots of damage.
A lot of
going down
damage
there.
coming out, thanks to King George just landing a combo, and the Q just destroying.
I wonder if Baby Faker was trying to do that right there, if he got lucky and lined it up.
I don't know. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say he did that on purpose.
That was pretty well played.
Joe's Pike landing the Bone Skewer onto 2K17. Soul getting pulled out. But it doesn't seem like anything else will come from
2K17 is very low on mana here.
If a
And
fight
King
were to
George
break out
is
now.
pretty low on HP as well. This could be an opportunity for Endgame to look for a fight, but it doesn't look like they're interested.
Nancy Drew crew looking to reset this right before the dragon spawn.
Yeah, they definitely want to take down this 4th dragon and get that soul.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Well, it looks like Nancy Drew crew will be the first ones to get to the pit and maybe get some vision down.
Little Gobble, no TP to assist with this dragon, so it looks like he might be forced to, oh. Parallel Convergence landing on a Scurb, and then the Death Mark being popped onto Feral Hogs doesn't seem to do any damage, but also causing King George's death. But 2K17 being killed by the Pike Ultimate, and
Be 2 for 0 on the side of Endgame.
I did say prior to this fight that there was no TP on Little Gabo, so he would have been forced to use the Unstoppable Onslaught the way he just did, and it looks like they're looking for even more. Joe just constant aggression. He just never looking
land
for
the
it.
ultimate on the house is on sale and he will go down.
I actually think it landed on the Baby Faker, and it just happened to spread to him.
Well played there by Feral Hogs.
Very, very well played by
He's
Feral
6-1
Hog.
on this Aphelios. He is definitely living up to the hype that he created in that scrimmage game yesterday against Iron Dragon on this Aphelios. Endgame really now just inside Ancient Juku's jungle here.
Smelling something here, and he definitely did.
Really beginning to choke them out with their lead here in this one.
It's going to be very difficult with that 12% armor and magic resist increase, as well as the huge shield get that is, even after the nerfs, I still think the shield is a lot to have from the Mountain Soul.
Little guy was already getting pretty huge over there with his passive stacking up in this one. Really stacking up that HP.
I think
Only 25 minutes.
25 minutes, and he already is at 4,000. Well, when you include the shield, it's 4,000.
The shield, yeah.
Which turns into even more when you factor in the Sion's Soul Furnace, which he'll be able to pop at least 2 to 3 times in a fight. So you're looking really at about a 5K, 5.2, 5.3K Sion here, depending on how quickly you can take him down, cut through his health bar. Unstoppable Onslaught landing onto 2K, causing the leap of faith from the Alawi, but it doesn't seem like she's going to be able to get
how much
much.
damage
The
he's
parallel
soaking up
convergence
here.
landing,
Oh!
and Joe going down almost immediately after that engage. Aphelios just shredding through everybody. The calling coming out from Lucian, and
Felix is laying out that
2K17
damage.
standing a little bit too far, a little bit too long, almost losing his life there. Luckily, his tentacles were still swinging, otherwise he would have died.
And that was exactly what we were talking about there. Little Gawa was tanking almost the entire team of Ancient Juku for so long, and it just allowed the rest of Endgame to rejoin the fight and still win.
Going 2 for 2 there, or 2 for 1, only sacrificing Joe's Pike. I thought it would have been a little bit better on the side of Nancy Drew crew with the parallel convergence landing the way it did. But did it only land? I think it only landed on Little Gawa.
Yeah, that was a very interesting fight to be broken. I definitely thought Little Gawa was committing a little bit too hard there without the backup of his team, but he really just soaked up that damage.
No, that's a testament to the amount of armor that he has. Do you remember that he has a Righteous Glory Ninja Tabby and Sunfire Cape here, as well as the extra 12% bonus coming from 2 Mountain Dragons. And like I said, he's going to be able to pop his Soul Furnace at least twice in a fight. So that you're looking, again, that's about 5,000 health that you have to shred through. A little over 5,000 health that you have to shred through with 4 champions. Seeing as how Bengushi does not seem to have the damage to shred through him at all. with only a Lich Bane and a Runic Echoes, which is a lot of damage to squishy champions, but not so much to Little Gawa's Scion, who has no magic resist, but a ton of health. So now when you look at it, it looks as though a lot of pressure is being created by Little Gawa here in the bot side. Teleport is available as well as the Unstoppable Onslaught. So we will see where Iron Dragon Endgame, where Endgame decides to place pressure despite along with their bot lane.
Yeah, Endgame really set up a lot of vision, which is now being cleared out by NC inside that blue side jungle over there. I think it would have been a little bit more useful to maybe set up deep vision and control around the red side jungle around the Baron objective, but so they are over there now.
And it looks as though they want to set up that deep vision here on the top side of the jungle, and immediately Joe's Bone Skewer making into the entire enemy team explodes Bengucci. So there is no jungler on the side, which will immediately cause the start of the Baron.
Between Aphelios and Pyke there, really, Bengucci just got melted. Didn't even stand a chance.
It's a very strong Aphelios, a 3-item Aphelios with an Executioner's falling for the healing reduction. Infinity
both
Edge,
top laners do have TP here.
Cullen coming out from...
Both TPs channeling in.
Both TPs are channeling in. Hitting a 3-man ultimate on 2K17, but it isn't enough to deter, and it looks like Iron Dragon will be picking up the Baron and executing King George's Zed at the very beginning. Little Gawa picking up 2K17.
Oh my goodness, that damage after ability.
There's no way that with the current builds and the current state of the game, that Slamuel and Little Gawa will not be able to just sit there and tank for hours, really, at this point.
Yeah, it really is not enough damage to go through the front line of endgame here.
Not to mention Sejuani, Slamuel Sejuani went for a supportive build here, so that's making herself significantly tankier when she's next to, I'm assuming she's tethered to Aphelios right now, which it looks like she's not tethered to anybody right now. She just...
No, I think she's tethered to the Aphelios. Looks like they've got the...
It might be a Spectator bug. I don't see the passive on it that she's attached to somebody.
Gawa is taking down his top turret here. We'll actually get it to fall before he has to back off. Tentacle grab will land.
Slow going out, and it looks like King George and 2K17 are going to go for this, but without any real penetration, items, there's no way that I can see the two of them doing that. And the Elder Dragon being passed over to endgame, and now that they have the Elder Dragon as well as the Baron, it's going to be very difficult on the side of Nancy Drew Crew to even contest them underneath their own towers.
Yeah, Bengucci going a little too far in there. And this really is just another testament to Little Gawa's flip push pressure that he's applied over both of the games that he's played on the Scion. Really just getting a free... not that much of a contest would be able to be made anyways, but really distracting a lot of members in this top side, allowing for the free Elder Dragon to be taken. Does look like endgame will have no trouble taking down these two inhibitors, and their eyes will be on the Nexus turrets. Huge damage coming out from Aphelios there. Oh my goodness.
Aphelios, like mid to late game Aphelios, this is why you see a lot of Aphelios bans in solo queue actually, as well as in competitive plays, just because he just does so much damage after he hits his 3 items.
Oh my goodness.
Like, if he's able to get the right combination of weapons, he will shred your team. Like, Severum, I know Severum and Infernum is a really strong combination, but the victory does go to endgame.
And Nancy True Crew just got completely demolished there in that last fight. No chance with that Elder Dragon buff.
It wasn't even close.
So that was definitely a solid game for endgame. As they do move to 3-0, they will tie Iron Dragon in the standings for first place.
I still want to see that the official game between them.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good for sure. Mark that on your calendars. Feral Hogs, a solid performance. Logawa really staying strong despite having such a difficult lane phase against the Alawi.
He was down 50
never
CS
died.
at one point too,
Had a perfect
and
game.
even ended the game 40 CS down. And once again, another perfect game out of Logawa.
Very well played on the side of that. Really just a solid game all around by endgame. Joe had some solid plays. Got Feral Hogs huge. Feral Hogs pumping out lots of damage.
Let's take a quick
Well
look at the
played.
damage charts. It's no surprise that the Aphelios putting out a
Yeah.
31k. Like
There's a lot of damage coming from Malawi too as well. 2K17 was doing really good in that top lane, but really was never able to really start snowballing too hard.
I feel like that 2K17's damage numbers are a bit inflated because remember he was playing against Sion, who he was able to get low a couple of times. So when you're smacking Sion, who's just regenning constantly and just able to not die and soak all that damage and just take damage, it inflates the numbers a little bit.
Story of this game, definitely Little God while staying tough on that Sion, and Feral Hogs and Joe doing work in that bot lane.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, because it was like every single time that Feral Hogs had Gravitum, it just spelt and was able to land an auto attack on either of the laners from Nancy Drew crew. It just spelled a death for one of them, and it just so happened to be Baby Faker's Senna over and over again, just taking an auto attack, getting rooted by Gravitum, and just getting pulled and stunned by Joe's Pike. It happened. It was methodical. It happened over and over again.
So endgame will move to 3-0 in this one, and we will take a short break, and then we'll be back with our second game of the day, which is Yasuo versus Martin Cabello Fan Club.